Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. All praise and thanks is due to Allah. We praise Allah. We seek assistance and forgiveness from Allah, and we seek refuge in Allah from our lower selves and from the wrongs that we sometimes commit. Whoever Allah guides, no one can misguide, and whoever Allah leaves astray, no one can guide. And we bear witness that there is none worthy of worship besides Allah, the one who is unique and has no partners. And we also bear witness that the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is Allah's servant and messenger. قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم, Allah says in the Holy Quran, أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَالدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ اتَّقُوا أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Allah says, and have they not traveled in the earth and observed what was the condition of those who lived before them? And indeed the final destination is better for those who are Allah conscious. Do you then not reflect? So the Quran suggests that journeying through the earth and learning from one's experiences is necessary. And it's necessary to enrich our experience of life in this dimension and to develop our consciousness, because that's why we're here. We always say it in most Jummahs, that we are spiritual beings on this earth having a physical experience. And so Allah wasn't bored one day and decided to create human beings. There was a purpose to our creation, and there was a purpose to us going through this dimension. It is somehow to strengthen ourselves, to learn through this experience, and so that our consciousness can be developed. So we are here to enrich our experience of life, but not to make attachments to it. So Allah constantly reminds us through the Quran that the final journey is towards Allah, that there is something beyond this dimension, and that thing is bigger than our own experiences. So when we make attachments, as we said last week, that we're starting to feel the pain and the sadness and the depression that goes with those kind of attachments. And such attachments and the feelings associated to it is what prevents us from raising our consciousness. So when we make those attachments, it's the antithesis of what we are really supposed to be receiving through our experiences in this dimension. Then Allah says further, had there been immediate gain and an easy journey, they would have certainly followed you. But the distance was too great for them. And yet they will swear by Allah, had we been all able to do so, we would certainly have set out with you. They are destroying their own selves, Allah says, for Allah knows indeed that they are lying. So what does this mean? So this verse suggests that journeying is part of our life, and that the journey that is most impactful and produces change and growth are those difficult journeys. And sometimes we don't want to undertake those difficult journeys because there's pain involved, and it's human nature that we always try to avoid pain. But yet within that pain lies the experience and the growth. For example, if you journey to another country and you just sitting in your hotel all the time, there's not much experience that you're going to get from your journey. But if you're the kind of person that's going to another country because you want to meet the culture, you want to go and visit the museums, you want to go climb on top of the mountain because you want to have an overview of the city, then obviously that kind of person would have more enriched experience of his journey. And so similarly in our lives, whatever the journey may be, that we engage in the journey fully so that we can learn the lessons out of this journey. So it's human nature to want to avoid the difficulty attached to the journey. But what we need to realize that nothing in life comes to us without effort. And the greater the result that we desire, the greater the effort is that we require. So you might as well tell yourself that if there is anything great in life that I want to achieve, be it a material possession, or be it a relationship, or be it a career, your success in it would be determined by the amount of effort you are willing to put into that. And as we often say, and we say it in the Personal Empowerment Program also, you only get what you strive for. And if you strive this much, you're going to get this much back. If you put in a lot of effort, you get much back. So why does Allah want us to travel through the earth and to see what the condition of those was who lived before us? One of the simple reasons is because life is very short. And the more we develop as human beings, our lifespan is even becoming more shorter. So we're not able to experience everything in the world. So therefore when we travel or we study our history, we learn what was the kind of lifestyles and the lessons that people have learned in the past that we don't have to repeat again in our life. So that's one of the reasons why journeying is very important. Traveling also enriches our understanding of the diverse nature of human beings. I mean, if you're just living in your world in Cape Town, for example, you're not going to understand what the rest of the world looks like. You know, your vision of Islam, for example, would still be the same. I mean, when you go out there, you see there are so many different faces and representations of Islam. There are different languages, different cultures, different religions, and different temperaments out there. And so when we expand our world through traveling, we come to understand that the human nature or the human race is diverse and sometimes complex as well. And through this experience, we learn to be non-judgmental about other people. Traveling and observing also gives us an opportunity to see how humanity has evolved over time, over the centuries. I mean, we know of stories in the previous ages where, our clothing was different, our way of life was different, the kind of foods that we ate was different. Previously, when you wanted a relationship, you would club the woman over the head and drag her to your cave. But we've evolved as human beings. And so when we travel, we see how this involvement of human beings has happened and how we become instrumental as a human being in the involvement of society, or the further involvement of society, or of human beings. So sometimes certain journeys are necessary for us to take, but we may be reluctant to take it because we know it's challenging and we know it's sometimes painful. So what we need to understand is that it is the very same pain, as I said earlier, that we're trying to avoid, that is the necessary pain that we need to experience in order that we grow. Allah also reminds us of the final journey, which is towards Allah. So through this we are reminded that all journeys comes to an end, and it is necessary for us to be reminded of this so that we do not make attachments to any of those journeys that we experience in this plane, but that we focus on the bigger journey, because one day we are going to go back to where we're coming from. So when Allah says, do you then not reflect? We see many ways in how this reflection needs to take place. Number one, we have to reflect upon our experiences on the journey. So it's not just your journey is about fun, and there's always a lesson in any kind of journey that we undertake. So what is the lesson and what is the experience in our journey? And two is to reflect on how the multiple journeys that each human being undertakes comes to an end. There are different types of journeys that human beings undertake. We have a journey of coming into this life and going out of this life through death. We have the journey from infancy to adolescence. There are lessons for us in that period of our growth. There's the journey through our schooling, there's a journey through adolescence into old age, there's a journey through each of the relationships that we build with people, whether they are very personal, romantic relationships, or whether they are relationships with family or student-teacher relationship. There are lots of learnings within those journeys as well. And in each one of these journeys, there are lessons to be learned and things to reflect upon. Now, the universe will constantly throw us into similar experiences and put us onto similar journeys so that we eventually learn the lesson. And this is the mercy of Allah. So you might have noticed that you keep on falling in love with the same person and you wonder why. You keep on making the same mistakes, or you keep on getting the same results. And if that is something that happens to you, then you need to sit down and listen and see what is then the lesson that the universe is trying to tell me, because I keep on receiving the same experience. Then Allah says in the Quran, and after the two had walked some distance, talking about Moses, Moses said to his servant, bring us our midday meal. We have indeed suffered hardship on this journey of ours. So although this verse may be dealing in the context of Moses' personal experience, herein lies the mercy of Allah, and that the lesson that we draw from it is not to be too harsh or to punish ourselves on our journeys. It's a learning experience, so we will make mistakes. And so not to be hard with ourselves, but to reward ourselves when we have achieved a goal on this journey. And so you are allowed to nourish yourself on your journeys. You are allowed to engage with the worldly things, but not to make those attachments to it. You are allowed to rest, because during those resting periods you can then reflect, how much of the journey have I covered? What have I gained through this journey? And so taking those breaks within your journey is important. And enjoying the journey. I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying our experience in this world. Have they then never journeyed about the earth, letting their hearts gain wisdom and causing their ears to hear? Yet verily it is not their eyes that have become blind, but blind have become their hearts that are in their breast. So irrespective of which journey we embark on, however big or small the journey may be, we have to engage with the experience of the journey with our hearts and with our souls, not just with the five senses. At senses, if you're experiencing something and oh, it looks nice, but nothing goes in. Oh, I've experienced this, but there's no reflection upon it. For example, if we embark on a journey of relationships, we have to engage with the relationship in an authentic way. We engage with our hearts, not with our minds. If we really want this relationship to turn out successful. So when we start manipulating the relationship or wanting the relationship to be the way we want it to be, that's the time when we thinking with our mind and not with our hearts. So the sure way to make a relationship work is to be authentic, even if it causes us pain. And to how many a community that was immersed in wrongdoing have I given power for a while, but then I took it to task. For with me is the journey's end. So there is power in wrongdoing. There is no power in wrongdoing when we know what we're doing is wrong. So that's a false sense of power. This false sense of power will be tested at some point. As Allah says, if there's any injustices that you've done, either within yourself or towards others, or towards, in the environment that you're living in, the universe has a way of somehow bringing things back to balance. And so we can play as much as we want to, and fool ourselves, but at some point it's going to catch up with us. So we ask Allah to grant us more experiences that will enrich our lives, and we also ask Allah to help us to be authentic in those experiences, and to grant us the ability to know when we are not authentic. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الكريم ونفعنا إياكم بالآيات وذكر الحكيم إنه جواد ملك بر رب رؤوف رحيم May Allah bless me and you through the guidance of this noble Quran, and may its teachings and remembrances benefit me and you. Truly Allah is the possessor of wealth, the sovereign, the all-good, the one who has authority over us, the all-loving, the all-merciful. Then Allah also reminds us in the Quran by saying, "And no bearer of burdens shall be made to bear the burden of another. And if one weighed down by his load calls upon another to carry it for him, nothing thereof he will be able to carry, even if it be one's own next of kin. Hence, you can warn only those who stand in awe of their sustainer, although he is beyond the reach of their perception, and are constant in prayer, and know that whoever grows in purity attains to purity, and it is but for the good of his own self, and that with Allah is the final journey and the final end." So again, the Quran reminds us that these lessons we will learn, we will hear them, but if it only falls on the hearts of those who have a sense of Allah consciousness within them, and those who are constantly praying, and those who have a desire to purify themselves. It is only for those that these messages will hold any weight. Allahumma ansur man nasara dina Muhammad, Allahumma ansur al-mujahideen fi kulli makan, Allahumma yassir wa la tu'assir, Allahumma tammim bil khair wa anta al-karim wa muyassir. O Allah, assist those who assist the cause of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. O Allah, assist all those who strive towards good in every place. O Allah, make things easy for us and remove difficulty from us. O Allah, complete us in goodness. Truly you are the most noble of those who provides assistance. ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة لقوم الظالمين ونجينا برحمتك من القوم الكافرين. And O our Sustainer, do not let us be a trial to those who are misguided, and give us victory by your mercy over those who deny the truth. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك وصحبه وسلم. Truly Allah and the angels sends blessings and salutations on the Prophet Muhammad. All you who believe, send greetings and salutations upon him. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. And the final word is that all praise and thanks is due to Allah, the authority over all creation. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون واذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. O servants of Allah, may Allah's mercy be upon you. Allah instructs you to serve with justice and good conduct, and to see to the needs of your loved ones. And He forbids you from shameful deeds, misconduct and wrongdoing that leads to oppression. And He cautions you so that you may take heed. So remember Allah, and Allah will remember you. And ask of Allah, and Allah will respond to you. And indeed, in the remembrance of Allah is the greatest thing, and Allah knows all that we do.